Hey y'all, welcome back to my modern homestead. My name is Janet, and y'all, today I have eggplants that I need to preserve. Now I did not know that I didn't know there were so many ways to preserve eggplants, and I'm so excited because a couple of them have just gone to waste because I couldn't get to them. So I'm determined not to let these go to waste anymore. I was watching Homestead Heart, and Mrs. H was on there, and she had harvested her eggplants, and she said if you would like to see a video of her canning eggplant caponata, is that how you say it? I hope I'm saying it right, to let her know. Well, I was going to wait until she did her video so I could see what it was all about, but I was like, I've got these eggplants, I really need to do something with them. So I'm going to have to go ahead. I'm not quite sure how she does hers, but I've got my eyes open. I'm going to watch. I love watching her channel. If y'all don't know her, it's Homestead Heart, I told you. So what I did was went online and I found a couple different recipes, and I just kind of mixed them together. I used Ball, I used food.com, Food Network, I'm not sure, something or other with food. And there was another one, I don't know what that one was. It doesn't even have a name on that recipe. Anywho, the first thing I need to do is start with 2 pounds of eggplants. So I went ahead and weighed them out. I've washed them. So we're going to quarter them. It says to quarter them lengthwise. So we're going to do that. And I needed 2 red peppers. Yeah, I just got that from the store. I forgot the pepper. I forgot I even needed it. But I've got one. My bell peppers are not nearly this big, so I'm using this one, but I do have these 2 from the garden. They're not red, they're not bells like this, but we're going to use them. And then we're going to roast them. So let's get busy, y'all. Now the first thing we need to do is to line a baking sheet. If you don't want to line it, you can always spray the bottom of your baking sheet, but that's just how I roll. Now let's do something with the vegetables. The first thing we're going to do is to chop the end off. Y'all, before I grew these, I think I'd only had eggplants once or twice in my life. So I'm not an expert when it comes to eggplants. So I'm living proof that even if you're not, you can do it. We're going to half it and quarter it and just sit it on our pan. Now we are going to turn it over so that they're skin side up. I've got 3 more. Like I said, I weighed these, so these are just a little over 2 pounds. Okay, the eggplants are done. Let's do the bell pepper. It says to half it, but I don't like to cut my bell peppers like that because then you have to cut out all the seeds and the ribs. I'm just going to cut them in strips around so that I miss the seeds and ribs, mostly. There we go. And then the green ones, just the same. There's one, all done. Just stick it wherever you can on the pan. And then we'll do the last one. And those are all done. Let's move this. I'm going to save these and see what happens with these pepper seeds next year in the garden. Oven's ready. Now, I didn't know what temperature to put it on. I just put it on 400. But what I'm going to do is just spray the tops of the vegetables with some oil. going to pop them in the oven until they're soft and begin to char just a little bit on the edges. Okay, while the vegetables are in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and prepare some of the other ingredients. We need 2 large onions. One recipe I saw said Spanish onions, but I guess, I don't know, are these Spanish onions? They're big white onions. I had one big one and then 1/2 of a big one. So I went and bought this little piece. This is just the half that I've just chopped. So I'm going to chop all of it and put it into this bowl. And then we need to get out 2 ribs of celery and chop those really fine too. Okay, this is the last bit of the onion. I got so many tears in my eyes I can't see what I'm doing. My nose is running. Woo! I'm glad I've gotten quicker at doing onions. Alright, let's get out the celery, get it washed, and get it chopped. Hey y'all, here's the celery. I think I've recovered from the onion. Gracious. I'm just going to take the celery and cut strips to begin with. Doesn't have to be perfect or fancy. We're just canning it. Alright. There's small dices. I think so that I don't have to mess up another bowl, I'm just going to put them in the bowl with the onions. What y'all think? Because in just a minute we're actually going to saute the garlic and onions and celery all together. So if they're all in that bowl, it will be just fine. That way we won't mess up so many dishes. Alrighty. Now, let's do garlic. We need 6 cloves. You can use fresh garlic, or you can use this garlic that's already peeled. I'm trying not to let this go to waste, so I'm going to use it. Ooh, that stinks. And then just dice it up into fine pieces to mince it. Alright y'all, got all the chopping done and the vegetables, the eggplant and the peppers are done. We're going to sit these over here to the side and let them cool off while I finish getting everything else ready. Now for this recipe you can use fresh tomatoes, but I didn't want to go through the hassle of having to get them all peeled and cooked and chopped and all that good stuff. So I'm just using a 28-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes. And then we also need capers and some olives. We need 1.5 cups of olives. I'm going to use a mix of these Caponata olives and green olives and black olives. I'll just chop them up and combine them together. And capers we need a 1/2 cup. 1/2 cup of capers drained. Let's see how much this is. I think we can get away with 1 bottle. Well, yes, we can. It's just a little bit less, but we're going to call it good. These look like green peas. All these are my most favorite olives in the world. And I might have told you a story. I did. Whoa. I'm just going to use Caponata olives. I'm not going to open those others because we might not ever use that many olives. These will be perfect. They're my favorite anyway. Look at there. 1.5 cups, just what we needed. Now these olives are already halved, but I'm just going to give them a rough chop. They just need to be coarsely chopped, not fine. Look good to y'all? Looks good to me. Okay, let's just put them in a bowl and set them to the side. Get our hands washed and get this washed up. Alyssa's measuring out a few of the other ingredients, but we need red wine vinegar. We're supposed to use 1/2 of a cup, but I don't think I have 1/2 of a cup. Oh, maybe wrong. Maybe wrong. I'm so wrong and happy about it. Okay, so we have 1/2 cup of red wine vinegar. I was going to say if we didn't have enough, we were just going to make up the difference with the white wine vinegar. Now, Alyssa has gotten me 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now we're going to do 1 tablespoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of black ground pepper. Okay, now I have 2 basil leaves out of the garden. We're just going to chop them up finely. And put them over in a little bowl. And that's done. Let's look at our other spices. Okay, let's take a look. We have our onions, celery, and garlic here. And then we have the tomatoes that are canned here. That's 28 ounces. Then we have the olives. That's 1.5 cup that are chopped and pitted. Then we have the 1/2 cup of capers. We have 1/2 cup of red wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. We have 1 tablespoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, the 2 basil leaves finely chopped, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, and 1/4 teaspoon, that's oregano, 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, and then 1 tablespoon of dried parsley. So that is what we need for our recipe. We are good to go. Are y'all ready to get this done? I'm ready too, but there is one more little step we've got to do. We need to take this eggplant and scoop it out into this bowl to sit to the side, and then we need to peel and chop these peppers. Now the instructions say to let this come to room temperature and scoop it out. I don't guess I need to scoop it out. It just peels right out of there. Or just going to get all the peels off and sit these over to the side. Then we'll be right back and we'll do the peppers. Wow, y'all, that was so fast. I was expecting this to be hard and tedious. Now the recipe does not say to, but I think these actually need to be, surely, we need to chop them up a little bit. Look at all those seeds. Oh my goodness. The world. I told y'all I don't have much experience with eggplants. So anyway, I'm just going to do these in these long slivers, and then I'll come back with a knife and chop them into smaller pieces. Like I said, it does not say to. I could be totally wrong. But all the pictures I looked at canned Caponata, the pieces were small. Let's just go ahead and do it right now, since I've already got my hands messy. Y'all, it's thundering out there. I'm so thankful for this rain. But I sure hope this power doesn't go out. The last few videos I've done, It's threatened to storm, but it never has. Yesterday we thought for sure it was going to storm. It got so dark, but it went right around us.
I don't think this one's gonna go right around us.
It might not. Doesn't look like it. All right, that doesn't look too appetizing, but there it is. Got them all chopped up, so we're going to sit them over to the side and get these peppers done. Okay, now I have peeled peppers before, and I don't remember them being as easy as that eggplant. But maybe, just maybe, today is our day. Or not. You just peel the skin off, set that to the side, and then, there we go. Just like that. We'll set those to the side and then we'll chop them when we're done. Very easy. Look at that. Okay, so it turns out that these peppers do not make good roasting peppers. As you can see, there's very little flesh to peel out. But I just remembered I have some peppers that are chopped up out in the freezer. They're not roasted, but I think they'll be okay because this is all going to get cooked. We'll just cook it till the peppers are soft. Alyssa is filling up our canner about halfway full of water. That's what you hear back there. We'll just go ahead and get our water warm so that when we get all this jarred up, the water will be ready to go. Okay, here are the frozen bell peppers. Unfortunately, they still have the skin on them. They'll be okay, right? Yes, 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 they'll be okay. Okay, I was just reading over this recipe. We actually add the peppers at the same time that we add the eggplant, so I'm just going to put them in the same bowl. That way we can get this big pan out of our way. With all this summer produce in here, I am so limited on space that I can work in. So there we go. Now these skins, if you have a compost pile, put them in the compost pile. Or if you're like me and have piggies, give them to the piggies. Okay, now what we're going to do, instead of using oil, we're going to use a 1/4 cup of water, and then we're going to saute the onions, peppers, and garlic just until they're soft. Now, I don't like adding my garlic right away. I would prefer to add it later, but I'm just doing what a couple of recipes said to do. So there we go. You just let them cook. Okay, at this point, let's add in all of our other ingredients except for the peppers and eggplant. I hope it all fits in here. Some capers. Spices. Olives. Brown sugar. Basil. Then I'm going to try not to put all this salt. That just seems like an awful lot of salt to me. Leave about that much. Can always add more, but we can't take it out. Let's add in our vinegar. Whoops, our vinegar. Then we're going to let this cook, I think for about 5 minutes. I'll check the recipe and make sure. Pardon me, we're going to cook this for about 20 minutes. Sorry about the noise from that fan. I had to turn it on. Goodness, I've never had this before, but it sure does look good. Smells good too. So we let this cook and reduce for about 20 minutes before we add in the eggplants and the peppers. Isn't that pretty? Alrighty, y'all, this has been cooking down for about 20 minutes and most of the liquid is gone. There's still some in there, but that's perfectly fine. Now we're going to add in the eggplants and the peppers. Stir it around and we're going to let it cook for another 5 minutes or so. Ooh-wee, y'all. You ready to put it in jars? I am. Let's go. We're on the home stretch, and what we're going to do is to put this into the jars up to 1/2 inch headspace. And I didn't know how many jars I needed, so I just pulled out 6. We'll never fill up these 6. But it's always best to be prepared. Now we need to debubble the jars. When you debubble, a lot of times you'll need to go back and adjust the head space, as you can see on these jars. I think we have just enough left to do that. Let's wipe the rims. Wipe around. These jars are hot, so be careful. Make sure the water in your canner is also hot. Sure wouldn't want you to drop a hot jar, well not drop, but place a hot jar down in cold water and pop it. Not after all that hard work. I say it was hard. It wasn't really hard. There we go. Okay, and then put the lids on. And if you've been here a while, you know I like to line up the word on the lid with the word on the front of the jar, if there is one, even if it's not the same brand. Then we put the ring on till finger tight. And then even though they're turning, sometimes I will go back and just lightly make sure that they're on there. There we go. Now let's put them in the canner. You don't have to put the rack up, but I just happen to have mine up. This reminds me of something my grandmama would make by the looks of it. Alrighty. Be careful, make sure you don't get your fingers down in that water. Now that needs to be 1 inch, at least 1 to 2 inches above the jar. I'm going to add a little bit of hot water to this, and then we'll bring it up to a boil. If you can help it, try not to pour it right onto the top of the jar. Just as a precaution, we're going to put the lid on it, bring it up to a rolling boil, and process it for 35 minutes. Okay, this is boiling, so we're going to set the timer for 35 minutes. There's our timer. Let's turn off the stove And then we're going to take the lid off. Turn this vent off so you can hear. I've got the vent on and the dishwasher going. Open your lid away from you. We're going to let the water get completely still to where it's not moving at all. And then we're going to lift the jars out of the water and put them on our cooling table. Now, if this was something that had a lot of liquid in it, or with like peaches or something like that, I would let it sit longer. But it's been 5 minutes. The water is still. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these up out of the water. And these are my heat resistant gloves. I know they're not the prettiest, but they'll be all right. Just tilting it a little bit, letting some of that water run off the top of the jars. Now, let's move them to the cooling table. There we go, everybody. We got it done. The dogs are probably going to hit the tripod for the camera. That wasn't hard, but it was a lot of steps and took a while. But I did taste it, and I would definitely not add a whole tablespoon of salt to that. It in no way needs a whole tablespoon of salt. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the recipe and you get to try it. I think it's a great way to preserve some of those eggplants. So until we meet again, may you be blessed. Love you guys. You know I love it when you come and spend a few minutes with me.